Okay, welcome back to the channel, MegaWhale team. Thanks for tuning into another video. Today's video is going to be a technical analysis for Luna. We're going to be taking a look at the chart and trying to give you guys our honest and objective opinion on where we think the price will be heading in the near term and the long term. Of course, Luna's had a pretty explosive move upwards in the last few weeks, performing considerably well against the entire market, and a lot of hype around that Terra, that Luna space in the last few weeks. And the question we're going to be asking today really is the move over? And if so, where do we think the price will be heading? And where shall we be looking to enter? So if you want to find out all those things, stick around to the end of the video. And if you have any questions, remember, leave them down below. Before we get stuck into it, if you want to join our VIP channel, our Telegram premium VIP channel, we are holding a 20% off discount for the next 48 hours. We only have 6 spots remaining. We had 10, we only got 6 spots left. So if you want to get involved in that, link in the description, contact me through the Telegram channel, and I will send you all the information via Telegram. With that being said, remember to follow us on the free channel as well as Twitter. Let's get straight into the video. So like all other technical analysis videos, I like to start off with a clean slate. I like to really walk you guys through exactly how we actually go about our analysis, and I also like to look at some of the past price movements to explain kind of what we're seeing happening over here. One of the key fundamental rules of technical analysis, actually one of the general assumptions created by Charles Dow, which was one of the founders of a lot of the technical analysis concepts back in the 1880s. He proposed that one of the common ways price moves is to move in historical trends. So we can use historical data to basically predict or infer what we think is going to happen in the future. So what we had over here is we had some sort of, it was a mix between a descending channel and some sort of descending wedge. I lean more towards a descending channel when I was charting this, and of course we had that bottom, that trend line form over here, and we had that bullish divergence on the RSI. I'm not going to bring it up, and we shot upwards. We had a very explosive move upwards. We went from that peak at the bottom about 115%, and obviously went up to a new all-time high on that hourly chart. I think we reached just over 104, close to $105, which was not a huge increase, only a 1% increase on that last one, which is indicative of a possible double top here, guys. So you have to be careful about, we're watching out about a possible double top. We'll talk a little bit about that later on in the video, but moving forward, what are we seeing on that shorter time frame? Well, we do have our long-term, or should I say our short-term trend line, which we were holding for a few weeks. And we're saying from the 24th of February until the 11th of March, we were holding that trend line, and we're going to draw that trend line in for you now, guys. It is a trend line starting over here. We're going to draw all the way up to that retest point. And of course, we do know we are in a downtrend now because we had that rejection. If we go to the hour chart, we can clearly see that resistance support or support resistance retest and flip. All right, we had that consolidation on that trend line, trying to really push back upwards, failing to do so, and obviously flipping and confirming that trend downwards. We are now in a short-term downtrend, so the question is, where will we be heading and what will be the best places to buy? So we've identified the trend. The trend is now in fact down, so don't expect the price just to shoot upwards. Don't expect all-time highs. The question now is, where do we think the price will be headed to allow for a good entry zone? And have we actually reached that point yet? So what we're going to be doing, VPVR, we're going to have a look at our support and resistances. So we're going to go to a 4-hour chart to start with, and let's zoom in a little bit, and we can kind of map out here with our support and resistances. We're going to input our horizontal lines, of course, starting on the POC, coming up, just identifying the easily identified support and resistances first. Obviously, we have a pretty major support down at 73, and moving up from there, we can find other major supports and resistances. Of course, a pretty major support and resistance currently acting as a resistance at 85. That's a pretty significant one, and we can see it's a significant one because we had this flip here. This support resistance flip on that horizontal trend line sent us up. All right, we've also seen rejections on this trend line multiple times, support, rejection, support, rejection, support, rejection, all along this trend line multiple times. So 85 is a very, very critical zone that we will need to reclaim. So moving downwards from there, of course, we have more short-term and minor resistances. Of course, the 79, so $80 psychological resistance, and now acting as support. And moving even further down from there, we do have this support line at 63. I think that's about it for this one. We're not going to put any more in. You could probably say 93 is also a resistance, and that does line up with some retests we've had in the past, so we're going to put that one in. That's about it for our support and resistances. Right now, acting that 85 one is that major resistance, and as I said before, we have the proof of that one being that major resistance. So we'll chuck that VPVR off, and we're going to input some zones now. So looking at where the price is headed in that short-term direction, we can actually assume, or we can say with pretty good confidence, that if we flip $85 and find support on $85, we can expect that trend to continue in that direction. Until we break above and find support on $85, we can expect the trend to continue downwards to the next support, which is $79.68. We're going to round it up to $80 because it's not entirely accurate on a larger view. So $80 is that next support. Keep in mind, guys, $80 is a psychological support. It is a weaker support than that $73.85 zone. So my prediction for the next move for Luna, provided we do not push upwards and retest as support on the $85 zone, my next prediction for Luna is that we will come down and go anywhere between this $80 to $73.85 zone. I think if we can find a level of support at this level, would be a great entry for Luna. Of course, like I mentioned before, support resistance flip on 85, great entry for Luna. I think that's about it for that. We're going to take a look at some of the technicals, and we can kind of, take our hypothesis that we've just created now, which is, we believe, the directional hypothesis, and we can use our technical indicators to try find data to support that, or even try find data that tells us we're wrong. Because at the end of the day, guys, we want to look at both sides of the coin. Just because we have a opinion, or just because we're extracting some information from the chart, we need to be able to actually back that information up with data, and we have to be able to contest that, and it has to be able to stand up to whatever challenge we throw at it. So let's bring up the Ichimoku Cloud to start with. Of course, on these smaller time frames, Ichimoku Cloud is going to be telling us we are in a downtrend and we are bearish. Of course, we have lost that trend line, and that momentum, so that lagging span is below the clouds now, indicating we are in a confirmed downtrend. So if anyone's wondering, or freaking out, we're still in an uptrend, it is confirmed that Luna is in a short-term downtrend. The data says that. I don't care what you think, that's just the reality of the situation. Moving forward, let's go to the daily. So on the daily, we are still looking healthy. I'm just trying to locate that lagging span. There it is, perfect. On the daily, we're still looking healthy. We do, of course, have the conversion line, which is around 77, and I could easily push up. Easily push up to 79, where we could find potential support on that conversion line before moving back upwards. I think that's a pretty big possibility. Of course, we've lost the conversion line, baseline. We have lost the conversion line, which is the blue line. Baseline is the red line, which is indicating a sell signal. It's no coincidence that cross occurred as we lost this uptrending support line, which is that black line I've mapped out on the chart for you already. So Ichimoku Cloud indicating that we are in a downtrend. It is confirmed in a downtrend. Momentum is heading down, and we're possibly gonna come down and retest this baseline, which will be lining up with that $79 support zone soon. So moving on to some other indicators, let's take a look at, let's go for next up, let's go RSI, and we'll go MACD. So I don't like to particularly look at the MACD and the RSI on too shorter time frames, especially when I know the trend is downwards. So generally, when I know the trend is in a downtrend, which we are in a downtrend now, I would rather look at the MACD and RSI on a larger time frame rather than these shorter time frames, because this can be deceiving. Oversold on a short time frame when we're in a downtrend can be deceiving because we can continue downwards. In saying that, when we are in an uptrend and we have a confirmed uptrend, I do like to use the RSI and MACD on the smaller time frames because I assume the price will continue as these lows are met. At the moment, we have to assume the price will continue downwards until proven otherwise by a support resistance flip or a major support resistance zone being reclaimed. So when we see the RSI low, we have to assume that the price will continue downwards. So let's go to a 4-hour chart. Let's see. We can obviously see that the RSI is still falling. We can see MACD is still falling. Let's go to 12-hour chart and we can see exactly the same thing occurring over here. And we can automatically start seeing that we're actually not that oversold as we start moving to these larger time frames. It's indicating we do have a fair bit of movement room left, and we can draw a little bit of a trend line here on that RSI, and you can see that we're coming down to a pretty critical retest. And that critical retest is obviously going to result in a break downwards if we go below here, which will send us to that target, which we mentioned before, $73.85 to $79.68. There's one more indicator I want to take a look at today, and that will be the Gaussian Channel. The Gaussian Channel is one that's overlooked, I think, and is incredibly it was definitely one of my favorites when predicting overall trends, especially when you're looking at swings as a swing trader. It is incredibly predictable and accurate at predicting these larger swings. The Gaussian Channel usually acts as some sort of support. We can see a lot of times we have these retests, and as long as we don't lose this midline, we're pretty much good for the continuation of the trend. So what is that saying? It's saying that the Gaussian Channel is probably going to curve upwards here, and the price will come down into this range again between $73 and $79. There's a chance we could dip lower into the range at around 70, which is also a psychological support. And we're just going to indicate that 70 zone here on the chart real quickly with a dashed line. Let's put a horizontal dashed line in there, and we'll put that one in here. Horizontal dashed line to indicate that 70 zone on the chart. And what we're going to do now, guys, is we're going to take all this information, of course, and we're going to apply it to a little strategy. So here is going to be our strategy. We'll go down to a smaller time frame. First and foremost, if we break above, so we're going to go brush, if we break above and support resistance flip, this is going to be an entry. All right, so entry number one. All right, support resistance flip, entry number one. At that point, we expect the prices to continue upwards and break that $104 zone. Number two is entry number two is anywhere between our $79 and $73 range, right? This is going to be confirmed by our RSI. This is confirmed by our Ichimoku cloud. This is also confirmed by the upper bands of the Gaussian Channel. And finally, we have our lower entry of $70, which is the midline of that Gaussian Channel. All right, so we have entries around this range here. Of course, you will want to scalp your way in, should I say, enter in periodically, don't go in all at once. We don't know when this will bottom out. We assume it's going to be bottoming out anywhere between $79 and $70. So you don't want to go all in at $79 and then it goes down to $70, and vice versa. You don't want to go, all in at $74 and it goes down to 70. So you want to put a little bit by little bit by little bit. And if you do not, for example, you put 25% into $79 and it bounces and it goes past $80, who cares? Put the rest in when it goes past $85. If the price drops below $70, that would be the sell signal. I do not think if the price goes below, I think if the price goes below $70, I think Luna's in a lot of trouble. I think it's in a lot of danger, and it could definitely crash back down to this lower range here. So be careful of that one, guys, but we have a good plan here. We have a good strategy, and I think it's always good to, analyze these charts exactly how I did, figure out, what are the possibilities and find data to support your possibilities. If you don't have the data to support it, your hypothesis is basically pointless. All right. I hope you enjoyed the video today, guys. I'm very tired, so I'm going to wrap it up there. It is, I don't know if you can hear, but it's 1 AM here in Australia. Got to be up early tomorrow to work on something, so I'm going to leave it with you guys there. If you've got any questions, leave them down below, and I'll catch you in the next video.